My name is Ciele Allegra Van Tor. I'm the mother of two teenagers who are 12 and 15, Mila and Teo. I'm a diplomat. I've worked for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade for close to 17 years. I've just returned home from being overseas in Greater China for the last 12 years, where I've been working at our foreign missions offshore. The last one I worked at was in Taiwan, where I ran I was head of mission at the New Zealand Commerce and Industry Office for 2.5 years. And I've just returned back to Wellington after a long stint offshore, and I'm loving living here. My mum is Samoan. I have a Dutch last name because that's my married name, but I'm divorced. I'm a single mum. My partner lives in Beijing, and that's who I am. I maintain my energy by making sure that I look after myself, and I do that by exercising as much as I can. I walk to work and walk home every day. I do a lot of yoga. I run about 3 times a week. I spend a lot of time with friends. I spend a lot of time with my family, and I make sure that work doesn't eat me up. It's a constant struggle to make sure that as a working single mum of 2 teenagers with a very, very busy job, that I'm not drained. I don't have any magic cure for how I do it. Every week it's a new sort of struggle. But I find for myself that if I make sure that my body is fit, then it makes a huge difference to how I feel spiritually and emotionally. And if I make sure that I'm not spending too much time at work, that's also another way of making sure I'm not drained. Going to gigs is a good way of keeping up my energy, and just spending time with good people and laughing. I've taken quite a few risks in my life, I would say. I took my last job as head of mission in Taiwan as ambassador level. I was New Zealand's first single mother head of mission, so that was quite a risk. I remember before I went on my posting, there were a few people that told me that I couldn't do it because it couldn't be done to be a single mother and be a head of mission. But thankfully I didn't listen to them, and I knew within myself that probably the most family friendly job would be to be the boss, and it proved to be right. And I found that when you're the boss, you're kind of able to call the shots, and for me that was probably the most family friendly job I've ever had, which was a great surprise, but actually was what I thought it would be. Going into, I think, in terms of dealing with adversity, just turning up and being the person in charge, and doing the business. I hope slowly, we're slowly chipping away and breaking new molds and changing the way that people view women and how we do our work. I get my strength from my family, definitely. I get my strength from my family. I get my strength from having alone time. That's really important to me. I try not to busy myself too much. I don't like to fill my weekends too much. I like to make sure that I have a lot of space to do nothing. That's really important to me. Alone time and time with my family, I think, are the 2 things that give me a lot of strength. My tips for self-confidence. Well, it's a constant struggle, I think, to feel confident, especially in the work that I do, where we tend to change jobs every 2 or 3 years. I'm often professionally in a situation where I'm trying to pretend to know a lot about things that I don't know anything about. It's a bit of an occupational hazard. And I think just being honest about with yourself and often with people that you trusted colleagues, about what you don't know, not trying to pretend that you know everything, helps you feel more honest and therefore more confident. I think being yourself and not trying to be who you aren't, I think, is a really good way of being more confident, because if you feel that you're being yourself, you feel more relaxed and therefore confidence just comes through, I think, through that. It's the times that I felt the least confident are when I've tried to be someone I'm not. And I had a few instances of that when I first took on the role as head of mission, and would have to get up and speak, Chinese. I'm a Chinese linguist, speak Chinese, give a speech in Chinese to hundreds of people, and I'd really struggled in the first few times that I did that around who I was and how I was being portrayed. But I think I got more used to it the more and more I did it, but just also relaxing and not trying to be perfect and just being myself helped me through it. And I think just the more and more you do things, the better you feel about them, and just to not let fear stop you from doing something. My hope for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren is that, well, I have a daughter, and I hope that when she gets older, she doesn't face discrimination for her gender, and that when she partners, and also for my son, that when they partner with someone and have children, that the housework is equally shared, and both are able to parent equally, and the tasks of the home aren't left to the woman. That would be a vision I'd have for the future, because I think true partnership and equality of the sexes allows people to flourish and shine. Yeah, because it's when our tasks are sort of shared that we can really shine together. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. Just a question from me.
Yeah.
What do you think makes you an inspiring leader? Like, what do you bring to leadership?
That's a hard one, because it's hard to think of yourself in that way. As an inspiring leader, I would hope that I'm approachable. I would hope that I provide an example of leadership that isn't the sort of traditional style of leadership. I try to bring my heart to leadership. I think that the way that people are engaged and motivated by their hearts and not their heads. We're emotional beings, and I think this is thankfully now in the mainstream of how people think about management and human resources and what actually inspires people. Thank God, right? It's now quite mainstream to be thinking this way, and I think it's definitely how I think about management and inspiring people and making sure people are engaged, because it's when we feel connected to others and connected with our work and connected, and it inspires us to do good work, I think.
Awesome, thank you very much.